is Tuesday night, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be going through my entire Sega Genesis collection and just kind of taking the Y2K crew through pretty much every physical Sega Genesis game that I own. Um, I was gonna start with some of the loose cartridges. Well, I'll start with the loose cartridges, then I will move to like some aftermarket, or I guess you would say like reproduction type of games. Some of the reproductions that I'll show are licensed, some aren't. But we'll take a look at some of the repros, and then we'll get into basically the first half of my Sega Genesis collection, and then I'll do the other half on another night this week. Tailored Soaps, what's going on, man? How you doing? Tonight we're actually just looking at my Sega Genesis collection. And I'm taking a look at the collection honestly because I made a video earlier talking about how I feel like I'm pretty much like good with my collection as it is. I don't really feel the need to add any games to the collection. And so I thought that this would be a good time to kind of just take a step back and look and see what's all in my collection. So not gonna waste a ton of time, not gonna be on live forever, but I will go ahead and take you guys through. So getting it started off, we're gonna start off with the loose games, the loose carts, and then we'll move to some of the aftermarket or repro stuff, and then we'll get into the actual complete in box Sega Genesis game. So first game on the list is the game that you're seeing here. It's Ristar. Ristar, if you've ever, or Ristar, however you want to pronounce it. This game kind of gives me Sonic the Hedgehog vibes. In some ways, it also kind of gives me Dynamite Heady vibes. It's just a very beautiful, bright, colorful pixel art style action platforming game on the Genesis. Definitely a cool one. Then you have Gargoyles. Anton the Go-Go, what's going on, man? We're just going through my Sega Genesis collection. And then next up, we have Gargoyles for the Sega Genesis. This actually got a release on the Nintendo Switch. So if you don't want to pay the Sega Genesis price, you could get this on the Switch, even though I think the Switch price for this game has actually gone up a lot. So Gargoyles on the Genesis. Next up, we have another one here. This is an old school game, but a goodie. El Viento. This is a renovation game. This is basically like, this game reminds me of like the Valis games, like Super Valis, things like that. Crash, what's going on, man? No, yeah, Gargoyles was an awesome cartoon. It was one of my favorite cartoons of all time. Seriously, Gargoyles had like very mature themes, by the way. Like it felt like it was beyond my age when I was watching it. But well, that's another topic for another day. El Viento is another loose cart that I have. Another loose cart we have McDonald's Treasureland Adventure. So this is another pretty decent loose card here. And then the last loose card game that we have is Wolf Child on the Sega Genesis. And these are my loose carts. These are the loose cart games that I have on the Genesis. And these are the only loose cart games. I haven't been live that long, Crash. I really just went live like 4 minutes ago. Um, so just going over my Sega Genesis collection right now. So these are the only loose cart games that I have. Pretty decent selection there. Now we're gonna take a look at some of the kind of like repro stuff. Some of it licensed, some of it not. So the first game that we have here is Mad Stalker. This was actually like a Genesis game that was released through Strictly Limited. I can't remember if this was like a game that was released overseas and Strictly Limited just decided to give us a North American version of this game. They did put it in this clamshell case, which I thought was pretty cool, but it is nowhere near the level of durability like the original clamshell cases. But for novelty's sake, I thought this was pretty cool. Um, just a pretty cool reproduction game that they gave us from Strictly Limited. So this is one that I picked up. Then we have probably top 5 shoot 'em ups of all time. If you've never played this game, you have to play it. This is Glay Lancer on the Sega Genesis. Top 5 shoot 'em ups, dead or alive, easily. In fact, I use some of the music in my edited videos. Some of the music in my edited videos actually comes from Glay Lancer. So Glay Lancer, if I'm not mistaken, was only released overseas. We never got a North American official release of this game, so it was only released, I think, on the Mega Drive. Um, But this is an amazing game, and so I think Retrobit decided to do their own release of this game, complete with like a case and a manual and everything like that. If you've never had a chance to play Gley Lancer, I highly recommend you try this game out. I kept my copy sealed because I actually have the game downloaded to my Switch, but you can download this game and try it out on the Switch if you've never played it before. Gley Lancer is definitely an amazing shoot 'em up. And then the last, I would say, kind of like fake or repro style game that we have. This one is one that I actually picked up from a convention a couple years ago, and that is Pulseman on the Sega Genesis. This is another game that I don't think we got in North America, but this is kind of like the Sega version, not the Sega version of Mega Man, but this feels like some like alternate version of Mega Man, is how it feels to me. Another like action side-scrolling platform game. Very cool mechanics, definitely one worth checking out. But these are, I think these are the only unofficial like Sega Genesis games that I have in my collection. And a lot of it is because these games just, we didn't get them in North America, and I wanted to try these games out, or at least have a physical version in my collection. So you have that there. And now let's get to the real deal, all of the complete in-box Sega Genesis games. As you can see, I have like a whole stack of them here. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we have Stallone and Snipes in Demolition Man. Uh, Demolition Man is a pretty cool game. Um, Obviously, kind of like that run and gun shooter style. If you've never tried this game out, it's actually a pretty decent game. Not too crazy, but pretty decent on the Sega Genesis. I think run and gun shooter on that. Next up, we have Elisa Dragoon, another complete in-box gem. I love all the different powers that you get in this game, all the different weapons, the fact that you get 3 separate helpers. This is just a very cool, I guess, side scroller. Not really a platformer, and it's not really a Metroidvania style game either, in my opinion. This is just kind of like a side scrolling action adventure game, pretty much on the Sega Genesis. Was really stoked when I added this. I've been eyeing this game to add it to my collection for some time, and finally got it complete. It was so hard to find a complete copy in good condition. So once I did, I snagged it up. This one was added. Next up, we have a pretty great shooter, and you're going to see a lot of shoot 'em ups on the Sega Genesis. We have Lightning Force. Yes, that's Lightning Force on the Sega Genesis. This is technically Thunder Force 3. For those of you who are familiar with the Thunder Force series, an amazing series of side-scrolling shoot 'em ups. If you're prone to seizures, I would not play this game. A lot of flashing lights, and there's just so much going on in this game. I played this game on live stream for a while. Couldn't make it past like the 5th or 6th level. This one's a tough one. Next one, oh, I did beat this one on live stream. So Felios. This is a top-down shoot 'em up on the Sega Genesis. Dr. Antonio, what's going on, man? The Post Towns, how you doing? Yeah, Postman was a Sega Channel exclusive. SPB. Elisa is an awesome game, man. Video Game Greek, you'll have to see. You'll have to stick around to find out. Oh, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. Pineapple Painkiller, what's going on? So yeah, so you've got Felios. This is basically a top-down shoot 'em up based on Greek mythology. This is actually a really cool one. I beat this one on the channel. I did a live stream, played this, beat it. Very interesting game. The cutscenes in this game are classic, man. Just really classic cutscenes. One that I definitely recommend if you're into shooters. I'm about to bring out an OG, y'all. I'm about to bring out an OG. Streets of Rage 2. And this is the not for resale version. So this is, I think this is the pack-in game. Classic beat 'em up. I probably know all of the, like, where every secret extra life is hidden. I know all the tricks in this game. I know how to avoid landing on the floor when you get thrown. This is easily my favorite beat 'em up of all time. This probably is the definitive beat 'em up all time. I can't think of any beat 'em ups that are much better than Streets of Rage 2. So but you guys let me know. This is a classic, and I love the fact that this is the not for resale version. Got this in a bundle. I think I got like 15 complete in-box Sega Genesis games. At the very beginning of the pandemic, I got like 15 complete in-box Genesis games for like 40 bucks from a lady who was just clearing out her attic. Very sweet pickup. Glad to add that. I got another classic for you guys, Elemental Master. So um this is actually a really, really dope. This is technically, so this plays like a shoot 'em up. Even though you're not flying in a spaceship, you're like kind of just running, really. This is kind of like a walking shoot 'em up. It's like it plays like a top down shoot 'em up, but it's not. I love the variety of weapons that you get in this game, the different shields, the level design, the music is classic. This is just a very good game. This is a very expensive game, I will say. If you don't want to spend the money in buying this game, you can easily play it on the Sega Genesis Mini 2. Granted, there is some lag, so if you don't mind the lag though, this is one that you might want to check out. Definitely cool. Then you've got Captain America and the Avengers on the Sega Genesis. This is a classic beat 'em up adventure game. This is one that I definitely recommend as well. Unfortunately, my complete in box copy is not truly complete because I think I am missing, I think there's like a tattoo or something, or like a pin that's supposed to come with this, but I'm missing that. But outside of that, it is cool. So Scott Free, I never really played the Avengers in the arcade, so I couldn't really compare this one to the arcade version. I just know that if I had to choose between this version, the Super Nintendo version, or the NES version, this is my favorite version. But probably because this is the one I'm most nostalgic for. I played this growing up as a kid. Next up, we have another classic beat 'em up, Streets of Rage 3. This Streets of Rage isn't the most fun Streets of Rage. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I've played it and I've beaten it. I think it's cool. I don't mind playing this version. I've beaten this version as well. It's just not as fun as the first two. The first Streets of Rage is cool because I get to play as Adam. I loved playing as Adam. Um, Let me catch some of these. I love me some beat 'em up. Scott Free said, "Yeah, beat 'em ups are my favorite, man." Skr, you're right. The SNES version is not my favorite. Game related, thanks, man. I hope you're having a great day too. But overall, this is not my favorite entry in the series. I would probably rank this like the worst Streets of Rage game, even below Streets of Rage 4. Like, I think Streets of Rage 4 is better than this. Um, I think they tried to do some cool things, but it just didn't really hit. Streets of Rage 1 is obviously nostalgic. Streets of Rage 2 is like the GOAT, and then 3 is just there. I mean, it's cool, but it's really not. I wouldn't pay the money for it, to be honest with you. Then we have Castlevania Bloodlines. It's Castlevania. One of the better Castlevanias music wise to me. Um, Surprisingly enough, the my favorite Castlevania music is in Dracula X Chronicles. I really love the music there. Like, I can't play that game more than one time, or I'll be humming that song all freaking day. It's just super catchy, man. But this is classic Castlevania. If you like Castlevania games, you'll really like this one. Of course, the difference with Bloodlines to me from all the other Castlevanias is that it was on the Sega Genesis. So it has more of like a gritty, kind of gory feel to it. In my opinion, maybe it's just me. You guys let me know. I felt like this was more mature than like the Super Nintendo versions, both Super Nintendo versions. Whether it be Super Castlevania 4 or Dracula X Chronicles, I feel like this one just had a little bit more edge to it, to me. Next up, this one's gonna shock you. Pocahontas. Yes, you guys do not sleep on Pocahontas for the Genesis. This is actually a really dope game, for a lot of reasons. One, the music is really cool. Like, I'm a big fan of the music, and I watched Pocahontas growing up as a kid. I grew up as one of those kids whose parents kind of shielded me from everything. So we had a lot of like those Disney tapes. So any Disney movie you could think of, Pinocchio, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, all those 90s classics like Lion King, we had it. And Pocahontas was in there. We definitely had that. Graphics in this game are good. You get to play as both Pocahontas and the squirrel. So it's a little bit of like puzzle solving because there's certain areas you can't get to as Pocahontas. So you have to be the squirrel. There's just certain things that, like, they basically work together to get through the levels. So it's kind of like an action adventure platformer kind of game. This game is actually pretty cool too because what some people don't know is that it actually comes with this pretty cool poster. So you get a really decent poster, and not, some Sega Genesis games came with a poster, some didn't. This was one that actually came with a pretty decent poster. So if you have the poster, or if you find one with a poster, I would say go ahead and snag that up. But Pocahontas is definitely a cool one. I recommend it. Next up, let me see. Have you played Rondo of Blood? I have not played Rondo of Blood. Wait, yes, I have. I have played Rondo of Blood. Um, well, I think I've played Rondo of Blood. Let me get back to you on that. I think I have. The Punisher. So I've beaten this game. I beat this game as a kid, and I beat it as an adult. This is a classic super. This is a classic Sega Genesis beat 'em up. I would say this is definitely top 10 beat 'em ups for sure. There's so many things about this game that I like. I like the fact that, and you could do this in other beat 'em ups too. Like I think you can do this in Streets of Rage. No, you can't do this in Streets of Rage. The thing that I like about this one is that when you beat up guys who are walking with guns, you can actually pick them up and use them against people. There is another beat 'em up you can do that in. I'm not sure if it's just the Punisher, but obviously you could play as Nick Fury, you could play as the Punisher, you can drop bombs. It's just it's a fun beat 'em up. I wouldn't spend the money on it though. This is one of the more expensive Sega Genesis games out there. I definitely wouldn't pay the money for this. Illest Villain, what's going on? You could get this game easily on the Capcom Marvel vs. Capcom Classics collection. This game is included on that. I would go pay 25 bucks for that and just play it there. If you want to get that nostalgic experience, though, you could definitely get it on the Genesis. It is going to run you a pretty penny. Next up, we have a classic here, Sonic 3. I can never really get into Sonic 3, guys. I couldn't. Like, I like it. I've played it. I've never beaten it. I've gotten into it. But never got into it like the way I got into Sonic 2. Like, I was addicted to Sonic 2. I learned the codes in Sonic 2 to be able to start as Super Sonic or just play the whole game as Super Sonic. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that code, but there's a code where you like get unlimited Super Sonic. You can just play the whole game as Super Sonic and just like never die. Well, you can die. I think if you fall, like if you drown, you can die. But outside of that, like you're like invincible throughout the whole game. It's like playing Super Mario with an infinite star. It's fun. You should try it. And the codes are available. I remember there was a code website that we would go to. I think it was IGN or IG something codes website way back in the day. I used to go to on like my Windows 95 computer to get the codes. But Sonic 3 is cool. Not my favorite game, but it's cool. I got a classic. Hold on. You say, Scott says, yeah, that's the Punisher that's on the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. Yep, it sure is. Greek Evolution live with Captain Logan. What's going on? He says, and the arcade version, but it looks great on Genesis. It does look great on Genesis. It plays great on Genesis, man. Heresy, Sonic 3 is the GOAT. The Pose Towns. I don't know, man. I just couldn't get into it like that. All right, let's see. So the next one up, we have Gunstar Heroes. Classic. If you love you a good run and gun shooter, there's no way you can say that you don't like Gunstar Heroes. Gunstar Heroes is a classic. When it comes to run and gun shooters, well, this is by Treasure, right? I think this was from Treasure. Yeah. So when it comes to run and gun shooters, to me, there's two franchises that dominate all. Gunstar Heroes is one. Obviously, we all know what the other one is. Metal Slug, of course. Metal Slug dominates. But there are some other like run and gun shooters out there that I think people that are just sleepers. There's a game called Commando Steel Disaster. Do I have it right here? I think I have it somewhere right here. Yep, it's right here. So Commando Steel Disaster. So for those of you who don't know, every time I describe this game, I always say that this game is would be like if Gunstar Heroes and Metal Slug had a child, it would be Commando Steel Disaster. Just if you don't have either of these games, just look up Gunstar Heroes footage on YouTube and then go check out Commando Steel Disaster. You'll see what I'm talking about. Both games are pretty pricey though. Commando Steel Disaster is like a $200 game. So if you can emulate it or flash card it or do some other way of playing it, I would do it that way. This is like really expensive. Same thing with Gunstar Heroes, but both are like top tier run and gun shooters in my opinion. For real, like up there. I don't know if I can put it over Metal Slug, especially Metal Slug X. That's like a classic for me, but it's way up there. And I got to the level with Metal Slug X because I used to play it in the arcade. I could beat that game on 1 quarter. I was playing it every day after school. Shinobi 3, I really don't have a lot to say about Shinobi 3. I feel like I've always played this game up to like level 3 and then just stopped for some reason. I don't know why. I do have it in the collection. I probably will go back to it one day. I know it's a decent game, but I always stop around like level 2 or 3. Adam Wilson, what's going on, man? Yeah, so that's the deal with Shinobi, but Shinobi 3 is in the collection, complete in box. Here's here's one that I picked up. So I picked up this Spider-Man X-Men game because I got to a point like a couple years ago where I wanted like every Spider-Man game across all the consoles that I had, and so to do that, I had to get this one. But this one is like probably one of the worst Spider-Man games I've ever played on any console. Like legit. This is a horrible Spider-Man game. Like it's like graphically, gameplay wise, it's just not fun to me. I'm sure some people have fun with this, but this is not a fun game. Not at all. And yeah, but I mean it's cheap. You could get it for real cheap. You get this complete in box. At least you could for like 20 to 25 bucks. I don't know if you can anymore, but yeah, this is one I would say you could check out. A good little addition. Now here's a classic, X-Men. Oh yeah. So for those of you who know, X-Men is a classic. Now, of course, a lot of people are probably more familiar with the sequel, X-Men 2, Clone Wars, but this is a classic game, man. I played a lot of this with my cousins, especially when they first got their Genesis. And do I have the poster with this one? I know this. I think this one comes with a poster too. Ah, yes, I do have it. Classic. Yeah, so this one comes with a sick poster. I'm not gonna open it all the way up, but this poster is extra nostalgic. I mean, you want to talk about nostalgia? Like one day when I actually have like an official game room set up in like in my next house that I purchased, I will like probably try and frame these posters and hang them up, man. These are classic original posters with the Sega Genesis, but this one's just a classic, man. If you never played this, I would look into this. If you're just building a Sega Genesis collection, this is super cheap. You should be able to get your hands on a complete in box copy of this game for like 25, maybe 30 bucks. Decent game. Next up, I don't have a lot to say about this one. Simpsons, Bart's Nightmare. I think I got this in a trade or something and never really played it. To be honest with you, I don't have any childhood memories with this game. Nothing too nostalgic. So, not a whole lot to say. If you like the Simpsons, if you like the 90s, you'll like this one. Adam Wilson, Shinobi 3 is fantastic. It is. Shinobi is hard, man. It is hard. Spider-Man on the PS1 is probably the best retro Spider-Man game. Spider-Man on the PS1, if it's the same Spider-Man I'm thinking of, I would rather take that Spider-Man and play it on the Dreamcast because I think it's the same game. I would just rather play the Dreamcast version. It just looks better. Next up we have Landstalker. Again, this is not one of those games that I played as a kid, so I'm not super nostalgic for this. I think this was another game that I got just in a trade. I almost sold this game, but wound up keeping it. I almost sold this game a few times, but I just wound up keeping it in the collection. Never got rid of it. I think this is like one of those isometric, like action RPG style games. I don't really know. Don't really have a lot of experience with this one, to be honest with you. But it is a decent game, I guess. It's pretty cool. Now, this one I do have experience with, and I've beaten this game. I actually tried playing this game the other day, and it kicked my ass. Contra Hard Corps. So I played this game a lot. Beat this game when I was younger, probably like early high school. I beat this game, and again, there's just something about when these like games that you see on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, it feels like once they get to the Genesis, they're just a little more edgy. They just have a little bit more of like this hardcore feel to them for whatever reason. It just, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it just has a little bit more edge. I loved playing as the wolf, but I think I like playing as the little robot even more because smaller hitbox, easier to dodge stuff. But this is a cool one. I would check this out. If you've never tried it out, I would give Contra Hardcore or Hard Corps a try. Next up, we have Battletoads. Battletoads, this is not my favorite Battletoads game. I'm a fan of Battletoads. I think Battletoads are cool. I feel like a lot of the games play almost exactly the same. But if I had to choose like my favorite Battletoads game, it would probably be Battletoads and Double Dragon. I've played that game over and over and over again to the point where I could beat it on like 1 or 2 lives. Played that game a lot, but this one is pretty cool, man. This is just the standard Battletoad games. This is Y2K Collector. Do you have a favorite Genesis game of all time? I think I do, and I will share it once I go through the entire collection. I think I do. All right, next up we have, this is a really good one. If you guys ever spot this in the wild, I would pick it up, even if it's loose cart. Batman and Robin is dope. The Adventures of Batman and Robin is a dope game. Now there's two versions of this game. There's a Genesis version and there is a Super Nintendo version. The Super Nintendo version plays kind of like like a side-scrolling, a little bit more of like a side-scrolling platformer, whereas like the Genesis version plays more as like a fast-paced, like heart-pounding beat 'em up style game. Both are really fun, both are really cool, and the graphics on both are really dope. Really dope graphics on both of them. I mean, look at that. Look at those graphics, like sick, man. For the Sega Genesis, like some of these games, some of these like cardboard box games, graphically rival Super Nintendo graphics, and this is definitely top tier. Like I said, if you ever get a chance to get this game, recommend you checking it out. Definitely one of my faves on the Sega Genesis. Next up, here's one. So I'm not gonna say this is my favorite game, but it's probably up there, maybe like top five for sure. Um, X-Men 2 Clone Wars. Um, I love this game, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, I really do love this game. I played this game so much. This is another one of those games that I used cheat codes on. I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, after I beat it without the cheat codes, of course. But I beat this game. I unlocked Magneto, and I beat the game with Magneto. I used the code that allows you to not lose any energy. So, and I mainly did that because in this game, like when you're at maximum health, your mutant ability is at its maximum potency. So like with Cyclops, if you have like maximum health, like his optic blasts are like more powerful than if you like were like at half health. So that's the main reason why I use that. But I would usually play with Magneto in this game. Like once I unlocked him, I was a big fan of Gambit. I like Wolverine and Beast. I know a lot of people love Wolverine in this game, but the way they designed this game, you kind of need to use everybody to get through certain levels. But the biggest thing with me in this game is that, excuse me, graphically, I would put this game up against almost any Super Nintendo game. Like graphically, man, like this game is sick, bro. Like seriously, sick. Like up there for me, in my opinion. Yo, it's Heck and Steve in the building. What's going on, man? I'm just sitting here going through the first half of my Sega Genesis collection. I'm gonna go through the other half another day this week. But Clone Wars, man, is up there. This is definitely top five fave for me, like easily. Just yeah, Steve, that's what I'm talking about, bro. So then you've been playing this game. You know how sick it is. Like I put this game up against almost any Super Nintendo game graphically. Like seriously, like dope game. You guys got to check this one out. All right, we only got two more, and then I think that's it for this first half. Next up, we have Sonic and Knuckles. So I think what is it? That's the fourth entry. So you have obviously you have Sonic, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and then you have Sonic and Knuckles. I do have this. I played this a little bit, like a little bit of this game. It does come with that little add-on piece there. Um, it's decent. Honestly, I tried this so long ago, I couldn't even tell you guys like what it was like. It's been so long since I've tried it again. This because again, like pretty much Sonic 2 was it for me. Like anything after Sonic 2, I wasn't like super thrilled by. But this is decent. If you want to have like all the Sonic games on the Sega Genesis, you can go ahead and snag this one up. I don't really have a lot of commentary on this one though. Played it once. It didn't blow me away. It was cool. It's another cool Sonic game. Check it out. There's like a million Sonic games out there for you to check out. You can check that one out. And then last but not least, so Mazen Saga Mutant Fighter. So this game looks cooler than it actually is, in my opinion. This is kind of like a side-scrolling hack and slash, like beat 'em up style game is kind of how it plays. And then in the boss battles, you fight in this like large kaiju. You kind of go into like this large kaiju mode where you fight like the boss battles in that way, if I remember. correctly. But for me, like this game, just the cover art looked more cool than the actual game. I was not like blown away by this game. In all honesty, decent game, but not crazy. So of all the games that we kind of went through tonight, if I had to pull out a top five, Lightning Force is definitely in my top five. What else? Glay Lancer is definitely gonna be in my top five. What else do we got? Sonic and Knuckles. I think I already said this, but X-Men 2: The Clone Wars is easily gonna be in my top five. We already looked at Batman and Robin. It's not gonna be that. It's not gonna be those. I think I had some. What else is in my top five here? Um. Oh yeah, Captain America is easily gonna be in my top five for sure. And then that last one. Ooh, that last one has to go to Streets of Rage 2. Gotta give it to Streets of Rage 2, man. The goat of beat 'em ups. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely some other good stuff in here. When you look at Elemental Master, Felios, you guys have watched me play that game a bunch over time. Obviously, Streets of Rage 3 is a classic. We got the other classics like The Punisher, Sonic 3. We talked about those. Contra and Gunstar Heroes. Obviously, some decent ones there. Bart, Landstalker, X-Men, Part 1, and then of course Castlevania and Pocahontas. But so far for this first rundown, I would have to say my top five out of this bunch is definitely going to be Captain America, X-Men 2 Clone Wars, Glay Lancer, and Lightning Force. Let me see what's going on. You should play Sonic 3 plus Knuckles. I'll give it another run tonight. Streets of Rage 2 cheat, control a whole BC as soon as it starts. Either 9 lives or continues. Yeah, man, those cheat codes on Streets of Rage are classic. Have you checked out Landstalker? I haven't. I have not checked it out. I gotta check it out. Before we go, one of the ways that I play a lot of these games is on this guy. This is my Sega Nomad. Honestly, I use the Sega Nomad because it's a lot easier for me to kind of pull in and out off the shelf. There are ways that you can connect this to a TV screen. So it's not just like a handheld. There are ports that allow you, look at the dust on that. There are ports that allow you to collect it to a TV. I haven't personally played my Nomad in a long time because what you guys normally see me play on, like when you guys see me play, when I do like live streams where I'm playing the games, is I'll usually play my Sega Genesis games on my Sega CDX because I do have a Sega CDX over there in the corner. So let me see. Do I have it here? No, I'll show you guys another time. But yeah, that's typically how I go ahead and play it. But yeah, man, that does it. You guys let me know down in the comments though, what your favorite Sega Genesis games are. This is the first half of the collection. I'll probably come back later on this week and kind of just run through the other half of the collection. This first half, honestly, is just more of like the red label games, but I have a bunch of like the old school like black label games to kind of go through, and I can share those with you guys so you guys can see what's up. You said Crusader of Senti. I've actually seen that game on GameStop's website for like $100, but I just never bought it because I was too slow. Somebody got it before me. But yeah, Crusader of Senti, isn't that like an RPG game? Crusader of Senti, I think I've seen that. Yeah, I think I've seen that before. There's a couple of Sega Genesis games that I don't have. Some really, really pricey ones. Um, a lot of the renovation shoot 'em ups are really expensive. Like, geez, I can't. They're not even coming to me right now. There's so many shoot 'em ups. Somebody had asked me if I was gonna show Musha. You'll have to wait and see on Musha to see if I show Musha is probably like one of the most expensive Sega Genesis games. That game is like $1,000. It's definitely up there, but you'll have to wait and see. A couple Sega Genesis games though that I wish I could get my hands on. Troubleshooter. For those of you guys who don't know about that game, Troubleshooter is pretty sick. But honestly, I would rather get the Japanese version. Battlemania Denjai Go or Denjai-O, I forgot how you say it. But the Japanese version is way better music, and it doesn't even play the same. It's basically like the female version of Forgotten Worlds in a way, without like the RPG elements of being able to go into a store and buy power ups and health and stuff like that. But Troubleshooter is a sick game on the Sega Genesis. That's one that I would have loved to get my hands on. There are a few Sega bangers out there that still like I still don't have, but I wouldn't go out of my way to pick them up. But like I said, this company right here, Renovation, they're responsible for a lot of really dope shoot 'em ups. Um, so Splatterhouse, so I don't have Splatterhouse 2 and 3. I actually had the opportunity a while ago to pick up Splatterhouse 2 on the Sega Genesis, but I've played the Splatterhouse games on the Genesis, and they're not like super fun beat 'em ups. Like they're really not like they're cool. I guess they're like the gore is what makes them like gives them their lore. Cause seeing that much like blood and gore on a Genesis game back then was probably like whoa, you know, especially in a game that's not like Mortal Kombat. Cause we all know how gruesome Mortal Kombat was back then. But like you know, Splatterhouse 2 and 3 never really it's not that I haven't had an opportunity to get them. I just never really got them. If you're into arcade beat 'em up, then check out Growl. I'll have to check that out. Skur, you've been putting me on. By the way, Skur, I did order Beyond the Ice Palace. I ordered that today. So that should be coming in the mail from Amazon. It's Amazon Prime Day, y'all. So be on the lookout for some Switch games. If you got for everyone who's still here, it's Prime Day, so there's actually a lot of decent Switch games that are on sale right now for like 33% off, 34% off. I got Beyond the Ice Palace 2 for like 37% or 37% off. So I got a good deal on that. Um, Speaking of, because Skur put me onto some Metroidvanias. There's actually a few Metroidvanias on the Switch that I'm really trying to get my hands on and add back to the collection. One of them is 9 Years of Shadow. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one, but 9 Years of Shadow, that's one that I'm trying to get back in the collection. Um, there's a few like there Elderand is another one that I'm trying to get back in the collection. There are definitely a few that I'm trying to add back. Did you see the new English Genesis game at limited run? I think it's a shoot 'em up. I did see that. It's Eartheon. Is that what it's called? Am I right on that? I saw that they were releasing a new game called Eartheon. I think it's a shoot 'em up. It did catch my eye, but I wasn't like honestly, I'm like holding back. Like I'm legit holding back on buying anything new. Like when I see this stack of games, I'm like I don't really need to buy anything else. Like I need to I'm kind of like holding back, and I think I'm chilling out really for the rest of the summer. Doesn't mean I'm oh, a new one today? They released a new one? I have to go check it out. Then I haven't heard about it. I didn't know that they released a new one. And it's weird because I was just on limited run site today and I didn't see or hear anything about it. Or maybe I just wasn't looking. Like right now, my main focus is on. So they're releasing. Oh, that's what it is. They're releasing another Gal Guardians. So if you like Metroidvanias, then you probably heard of Gal Guardians Demon Purge. That came out like a year or two ago. So now they're releasing like a sequel to that. It's like Gal Guardians something something or another. I can't remember what it's called, but that actually releases in like what's today, the 8th? That releases in 2 days, I think, on July 10th or something. So there's another Gal Guardians coming out that I have my eye on. Um, there's something else that's coming out too. Like it's not coming to me. There's so many. That's the thing with the Switch. There's a new game coming out like every 30 minutes. Like you could easily get lost in even let's say you just said, all right, I'm only gonna stick to like these two categories of Switch games. So many games come out like every like 30 minutes that it's like you could easily without hesitating drop like $300 on games. Um, it's like Elemental Master. I'm gonna have to check that out, Jagbat. I'm gonna have to check that out. It's like Elemental Master. If it's like Elemental Master, then it's probably a really good game. Crow Country for the Switch, yeah, yeah, man. Like the Switch is like a black hole. You could get lost in it quickly. Like you start going down the path of trying to buy one game, and the next thing you know, you're like 5 games in, and you know it's just it gets crazy. But I honestly like I've honestly been holding back. I've been pulling back. I'm actually gonna be selling like $2,000 worth of games coming up here real soon. Um, just because one, I I found that I had a lot of doubles in my collection. Like I had doubles of a lot of things. Like I had like two Wind Wakers. I had like two Mario Karts. Like I was like, why do I have two of these? So a couple games that I'm gonna be selling, and then like we're taking a trip. Like the fam and I, I've mentioned it on the channel. We're taking a trip, man. We're going to Hawaii, and I want to do some game hunting in Hawaii. So I'm actually gonna try and see if I can go to a yard sale like in Maui. I know that sounds like stupid. I'm probably not gonna find one, but we're doing that, and then I'm gonna try to see if there's a GameStop on the island of Maui. There probably isn't. I don't think there is. I think I looked and there isn't one, but I'm wondering if there's like at least one game store out there that I can go check out and see if I can like do any kind of game hunting. So I'm gonna get some footage of that, and I'm gonna be making a full recap video of that I'll put up for the members only, for the membership. Like I said, I did launch a membership. You guys don't have to join the membership. It's not for everyone, but if you want to join the membership, you can. But I'm gonna put a full recap video up for the members, and then I'll do like a shortened version for the regular channel. He said, if you like Castlevania, them clone, then check out Chronicles of the Wolf, the physical game Chronicles of the Wolf. I'll have to check that out. Man, Skirty X is putting me on. He's been putting me on to like games like left and right. Like left and right. My man hops in the live and just like drops gems all night long. And it's funny because I used to be on it, man. Like I used to be on top of like when everything dropped, especially from like the big three, like limited run, super rare. Well, it's really like big five. So it would be like limited run, super rare, special reserve, Pixel Heart. Oh, that's another game I need to get. Dragon Force from Pixel Heart. That's another one I need to get back. I forgot about that. Dragon Force is dope. Is it Dragon Force or Dragon? Yeah, I think it's Dragon Force. Pixel Heart, Nicalis, Merge, M2, Red Art Games, First Press Games. There's just so many like companies that you can buy directly from that it's crazy, man. And you could just easily get lost in it. Jackbat, what do you sell on? I sell like honestly locally, bro. So like if I try to do deals like locally, I don't really like I don't do the encore thing or the whatnot thing. Like I don't do like I don't do that. Maybe I'll do it one day. I just don't care to do that right now. So I'll find people like in my area who I know are like resellers or something, and I'll work out deals, work out trades and stuff. Or I got places in the five boroughs, so Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, Westchester, Long Island. I've got different spots all out like the New York metro area with people that I just link with on the low, and we just do deals, and like I call it a day. Um, Brian Tran, you gotta try Pico 8 games. I'll check it out, man. I'll check it out. Streets of Rage, you win if it's part 2. You become a goat. Man, I need a Darkwood PS4 limited run copy. I know it's not legit, but repros and Etsy, I got a couple of them. Yeah, man, listen, there's nothing wrong with repros, bro. Like, there's nothing wrong. There's really nothing wrong with them. Like, I got a couple repros right here. You know, this copy of Glaylancer ain't legit. They didn't even release this in North America. This was only released in Japan. This is like a Retrobit exclusive. Who did this? Retrobit? Yeah, I think this is like a Retrobit exclusive. Yeah. So that's not like, there's nothing wrong with the repros, man. Now, if you try to sell it like it's real, then you're jacked up. That's not cool. Don't be selling repros like they're real. That's corny. That you shouldn't do. But like having a repro game that you play, there's nothing wrong with that at all, man. Like I've got repros. I know I have some repros down here somewhere. I don't feel like digging them out, but my most notable repro that you guys know about is Hagane. My copy of Hagane ain't real. It's fake as hell. But it works. It plays. I get to play it. That's what's important. And I get to play it on a Super Nintendo. So that's like the most fun part. I don't really got to worry about that. But no, man, there's nothing wrong with repros. And Etsy does do a good job. In fact, Etsy, speaking of Etsy, I've gotten some really cool Super Nintendo replacement cases from Etsy. Cases like this. So there's some of my Super Nintendo games. There was a point where I was gonna get one of these for there was a point where I was gonna get one of these for all of my loose Super Nintendo games when I was shelving them, but then I was like, wait, this is gonna take way too much room, and I don't have enough shelf space for like one of these for every Super Nintendo game I have. But there's a lady on Etsy that makes these sick, like these sick just aftermarket like Super Nintendo cases. And by the way, ActRaiser 2, dope game. If you've never played ActRaiser 2, you gotta play it. This game is dope. Don't sleep, man. Don't sleep. This is a dope game. But yeah, I had a lady on Etsy. She hooked me up with one of these. And I even got one for my copy of Metal Warriors. I really wanted to get it for Metal Warriors because I wanted to keep my Metal Warriors game, my loose cart safe. Because first of all, it was at the time I was looking, it was really hard to find a loose copy of Metal Warriors where the label didn't look like somebody snacked on it all night. So when I finally found a clean copy of Metal Warriors, I was like, okay, I need a case for this. And so I went on Etsy and found this lady, and she hooked it up, man. She had like these really dope aftermarket cases. And yeah, I put a couple of my Super Nintendo games in here, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with aftermarket stuff, especially if it's for your personal collection, man. Like, who cares? You're not like, you know, it's for you. It's your personal collection. It doesn't matter. Like I said, as long as you're not trying to sell that stuff like it's real, as long as you're not trying to pass it off as authentic, you're golden, man. Who cares? Have you ever beaten X-Men 2? I sure have. I beat it with codes and I beat it with the cheat codes and without the cheat codes. I've always been wanting to ask you, do you have Musha? Okay, I'm gonna just answer the question. No, I don't have Musha. I don't have Musha. I had Musha, but I don't have Musha now. Musha is just a very expensive game. Um, and it's more expensive than like it's for me, as cool and as dope as it would be to have a copy of Musha. I've played Musha. Like I've played a lot of Musha, and it is not a game out of all the shoot 'em ups. It is not a shoot 'em up that I think is worthy of $1,000. I don't think it's $1,000 shoot 'em up. And I've played a lot of shoot 'em ups. I mean, I haven't played every shoot 'em up, but I've played a lot of shoot 'em ups, and I could easily think of 10 shoot 'em ups that are better and more fun to play than Musha. Um, yeah, I bought a case for Resident Evil 3 on Dreamcast. Yeah, man. Bro, I just found Alyssa Dragoon loose for $25. You better go snag that. you better go buy that. Dreamcast, I got it because my copy was loose. I think I have a repro Dreamcast case as well. Hold on. I think I do. I'm pretty sure I do. Wait, where's it at? Dreamcast. Do I have a reproduction case? Let's see. Dreamcast. I know I do. Oh, yeah, here it is. You could probably spot it. Can you spot which Dreamcast case is fake? I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds. Let me know. Which Dreamcast case is fake? Just spot it. You should be able to easily spot it. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Boom, Project Justice. So my Project Justice case is actually fake. I'll just pull both of these out real quick just to show you guys. And like I say, like there's nothing wrong with like, man, there's nothing wrong with it. It's your personal collection. You're not being graded on how real your collection is. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, man. But yeah, happens to all of us. So real quick history lesson. There was a point where I only had disc only for both Cannon Spike and Project Justice. Luckily, I was able to find, no, what am I saying? I'm lying. So there was a time where I had a completely fake copy of Cannon Spike. Someone had given me, like I bought a lot of Dreamcast games. And so the person who sold me the Dreamcast lot had just thrown in this fake copy of Cannon Spike. They were like, hey, I got a fake copy of Cannon Spike. You want it? And I was like, all right, cool. So I found a person on eBay who made these like aftermarket Dreamcast cases. And I had to make me like a reproduction Cannon Spike case. But then this was like maybe like in 2022, I actually found a real copy of Cannon Spike for cheap at the time. I think it was around like $100 or something like that. And for those of you who know, There was one point where Canon Spike was pretty damn expensive. But now my copy is like authentic. It's not, you know, everything in here is legit. So, but at the same time, because I was getting a fake copy of the Canon Spike made, I had actually had a loose disc of Project Justice. So I had a real disc of Project Justice, but I didn't have a case to go with it. So this actual case and manual is reproduction. And I'm not gonna lie, for a reproduction case, it's pretty damn good. I mean, you can tell, obviously, like when you hold them side by side, like when you look at them like side by side, you could clearly see like, you know, the fading of the Dreamcast. It's not like legit, like you could tell. And then like you guys probably won't be able to see it like on camera, but like when I take this out the case, like if I were to take this, if you were like sitting here next to me, even though it feels like you guys are sitting here next to me, we're just chilling out on a Tuesday night, right? But if you were like here in person and you took this out, you would feel that the paper is like, there's like it's like has this gloss to it, you know. It doesn't feel, it doesn't have this like the original smell to it. It's just, if you know, you know what I'm saying. So it's definitely fake. Robert M says Red Marvel vs. Capcom. Oh, you thought it was the Marvel vs. Capcom? No, the Marvel vs. Capcom is legit. Um, Rob Kersey said that's why I bought Musha for like $10 on Etsy. Didn't know it hiked up to 1,000. Yeah, sure did, man. Sure did. I'm not spending $1,000 for Musha. It's just not that dope to me. Plus, there's like a few games that play almost exactly like Musha. Like, there's a game on Super Nintendo. I can't remember the name. Do I have it right here? Let me see if it's right here. Yeah, it's right here. So hold on. I'm gonna grab this, guys. Hang on. You're gonna hear. Hopefully, I don't drop all these games. Okay, cool. So this game right here, honestly, if you've never heard of this game, you probably haven't. But this game right here, it's called Imperium. It's for the Super Nintendo. This game plays a lot like Musha. Like, and for if anyone is in the live right now that you've played this game, tell me, am I right or am I wrong? Does this game or does it not play a lot like Musha? I feel like this is the Super Nintendo version of Musha, and this game isn't talked about a lot, but Imperium is a very like under the table shoot 'em up on the Super Nintendo. Not a lot of people talk about this game a lot. Jacob says, do you have a backup Dreamcast console? If so, what do you think about that idea? I've been considering getting a new one in box just to sit. So I'm going to answer that question for you very easily. So right here, where's it at? So right here is where my Dreamcast is. This is the Dreamcast that I play on a daily. But then, don't mind the PlayStation 3 right there. But then over here, you probably can't see it, but in that corner back there is a complete unboxed Dreamcast. That's actually the Sega Sports one. So that's a long way of saying yes. It's a long way of answering your question to say yes. I do have a backup Dreamcast. Dreamcasts are fickle. Out of all the consoles that have gone bad on me, like retro consoles that I've had, the only console to really like die out on me is a Dreamcast. There was an issue with the controller sensor, like it wouldn't detect when a controller was plugged in. And so I thought I was gonna have to throw it away and get a new one. But all I had to do was get the fuse replaced, and I was able to get it working. So, but Dreamcast can be pretty darn fickle. I'm looking to trade my Musha. Maybe, I don't know, it's boxed. Whew. If you're gonna trade it for something good. Yeah, but that soundtrack from Musha was great. Honestly, I don't remember it. The music the music in Musha wasn't that great. I know the music in this game is trash. But it plays like gameplay sorry. Shoot 'em up wise, like gameplay wise, Imperium plays a lot like Musha. Another game that plays a lot like Musha, and it's on the Sega CD, Robo Alesti. Robo Alesti also plays a lot like Musha, in my opinion. Let's see. Imagine wanting a game so bad and discovering you have to pay with an entire paycheck and a couple of organs to get it. Ratchet all rice. Yeah, it's funny. Alex, that's funny. You wanna know something funny? You're right. If you think Musha's bad, Go research how expensive it is to get a copy of Blazing Star. Like if you think Musha is bad, look up games like Blazing Star. Look up KO Flying Squadron. Look up how much that game. Some of these games are like thousands of dollars, like crazy stuff. Um, Mine has a couple of games in it, just won't play, but they work on other consoles. Yeah, man. Dragonfly, what's going on? Jan X76 says Musha definitely isn't worth the cash. Would grab a repro myself. Grabbed a repro of Trip World for Game Boy off Etsy. Was super cheap. Yeah, man. Some of these games, bro. Like I'm just not. I'm not coughing up the bread. I'm just not. Like if I can't trade for them, like if I can't do a trade a piece of my collection, I'm just not doing it. And for those of you who follow the channel, you know how long I've wanted a copy of Hagane. Like I've really wanted a copy of Hagane. I'm not ponying up for it. I'm not. Um he said even stadium event costs too much. Yep. Yeah, man. There's no point. Rob Christie said Lightning Force, a game that makes me glad I got a Game Genie. Another thing Game Genies can do. On Genesis, there's codes that bypass region lockout. Yeah. Do I have a Game Genie? I think I don't have a Game Genie for Nintendo. He said, man, I just got Yokai Watch 3 and I thought that was a lot. It is a lot. There's no when you get a dope game, you get a dope game. It doesn't matter how like expensive it is, how cheap it is. If it's a dope game to you, then it's a dope game. I'll be honest with you. When I got Naruto Ninja Council 3, this is a $12 game. I was hype. This is a dope game to me. It's not really expensive, but it's dope. Same thing with episode 3. This was cheap. Somebody corrected me the other day and told me how this game is now like $40 or something like that. So I guess I can't say that it's cheap anymore, I guess. But I tell you what is still cheap if you want to get it. Thor. I tell people about this game all the time on my channel. Thor is a sleeper. You can get this game complete in box, like $15, and this is a dope beat 'em up. This is a dope beat 'em up. Takes both screens, wide field of play. You get to do all of Thor's signature moves in this 2D beat 'em up format, made by Way Forward. So you know how Way Forward does it. This is a sleeper. I mean, I know video games are expensive, but you don't gotta spend a lot of money, man. There's some really dope games out there that are super cheap. I guess it's just a little bit of research, and you'll be able to kind of get some games. But that does it for me. I've done a ton of rambling here. I'm still getting over this damn cold. So let me catch up on some of these comments here. Also Panzer Dragoon Saga can go. Yeah, Panzer Dragoon. Yeah, we know Panzer Dragoon is wild, man. That's like, that game is stinking wild, bro. Alex, sometimes you just blink and a $10 game, yeah, jumps to 100. But that's what I try to tell. Like I try to tell people on my channel, when I spot a game that's dope and it's cheap, I try to tell you guys. And I've been doing that since 2020, especially with the Switch. Like when I first started my channel, everything was Switch. I was always talking about Switch games that were coming out. I was letting people know what limited run was getting to release, because back then, back in 2020, you had to be on top of limited run releases, because if you didn't get them on the day that they dropped, they would sell out immediately and immediately triple in price on eBay. Back in like 2020, 2021, like certain Switch games, it was over. If you didn't buy them like right away, you were toast, man. Like, here's an example. Who remembers when Fury dropped? You guys remember when Fury dropped? This is one of the earlier limited run games. I remember when Fury dropped. If you weren't on top of it, if you didn't like pick it up right away, it was over. Hey, have a good night, Jack Bat. Enjoy the pizza, man. Yeah, family time is everything, bro. Go chill out with the wife. Yeah, but if you didn't pick up Fury when it first dropped, you were toast, man. And at the height of like the pandemic and stuff, this game was like 150 at some points. Like, but now Fury's dropped back down. Fury's like a $50 game, but this is a dope boss rush battle game. If you've never played Fury, I highly recommend you check it out. This game is sick. Sick game. Let's see. All right, this is the last one I'll answer here. What's your opinion on Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2? I recently played it and was impressed by the game. I've played it a little bit. I've played that game a little bit, I think, on the 3DS, and I've played it a little bit on, no, was it the 3DS? I think it might have been the 3DS and on the PlayStation 3. It's cool. You know, I feel like by the time Castlevania got to the seventh generation, the gameplay style mimicked some of what we had seen before. It kind of feels like another version of God of War. So it's, you know, it's cool. It's like a hack and slasher. I love me a good hack and slasher, but it's not like the signature 2D Castlevania that a lot of us have come to grow and know and love. It just feels like it feels like God of War with a Castlevania skin on it at times to me. But that's just me. You know, I think that's me. Um, Last time I picked up limited games was King of Fighters '97. Didn't bother collecting them since. Yeah, there was a point where limited run was they were on it. Missed out on the Evercade links 1 and 2. Now it's just crazy pricey. Sometimes you gotta jump on stuff when you see it. This is true. Limited run is the modern definition of the expression of now or never. That's a good one. And on that note, folks, I am going to call it a night. Hopefully, you all are having a solid week. Peace, love, and respect all the way from the East Coast. You guys have a great week. I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.